Hi guys, Goffy here and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are here in Brighton shooting with a pretty crazy camera. A couple of weeks ago I got an email that looked like a scam email. It said, "Hello from Hasselblad." Now I thought it was a scam email and a pretty aggressive attack at my hairline, but it turns out 2 weeks later I am here with the 907X and the 100C back. So Hasselblad have sent me this camera to keep in exchange for making a few videos. So I want to get that out of the way first. I haven't bought this camera, but I do now own it. In today's video we are in Brighton and we're going to be taking lots of images all around Brighton. It's actually day 2. I actually got here yesterday, so we're going to recap it a little bit as we go along. But I'm very excited to try this out. From a scam email I almost ignored to having a very nice camera to try out today. Now, I've purposely watched no review content. I know very little about this camera, so it's going to be a little bit of a discovery video today. But the thing I'm interested in most, and mainly due to its tiny little compact size, is whether or not I could just use this in my usual travel photography in a bit of a run and gun style. There's not going to be a tripod in today's video. I'm just going to go and use it like I would any of my other cameras and see how it performs. Now what I did think we'd do before we got too into taking photos is sit down and have a quick look at the settings and set it up. Now, having set it up, there seems to be a couple of things that are missing. First of all, there is no continuous autofocus. You can only have single and that is it. There is no continuous at all. And the other thing that seems to be missing is there are no settings to control the size of the JPEGs and the RAWs. I was really hoping that this was going to have lossless compressed RAWs, so I'm a little bit worried about my cloud storage on my Lightroom account. But beyond that, the actual menu system itself, it was really easy to click through and understand what everything meant. Everything was very obvious in terms of its terminology, and the touchscreen was actually a joy to use. The touchscreen and the menu system was really, really good. So far then, what's it actually been like to use? Now, one of the things I like is when it's done by your hip. It does just point down, so it's been very comfortable to carry around with me. Now, something about the form factor that is a little bit annoying is this shutter button here, where it's on the front like it is traditionally on the 500cm, and the buttons are quite easy to press down. I've taken a lot of photos of the floor by accident when I've just been handling the camera to pick it up. Every time I pick it up, I seem to accidentally get a finger on that shutter button. Now, beyond that little thing, I'm actually really enjoying what this camera is like to use. Its actual shape, it does make it a little bit awkward to hold at times. Very few buttons on here, which kind of suits my dialed back approach. Now, for somebody who really loves buttons on their cameras and customizing all the buttons, it's going to be pretty limited. But for me, I actually quite like how few buttons there are on this thing. So this is some sort of odd hybrid of using a very retro feeling camera with retro controls and then also using the touchscreen on the back. It does a very good job of blending old and modern together when it comes to a usability standpoint. There are occasions where I have shot up at eye level and it doesn't feel that odd to do that. You do obviously have to rely on the screen, but I'm getting a lot of waist level shots with the flipped out screen. I've been really enjoying how it feels. It's a little bit like my other cameras where it makes you shoot differently due to its design. Because of this camera's design, I am taking pictures I wouldn't normally take. There's something in that as well. I always think there's something in that. If the camera makes you shoot differently and get different images, then there's definitely some value there somewhere. Last night we did shoot a sunset and we really lucked out with some of the images. We were walking all the way from Brighton up to Hove and back again, and I do think some of the images that I took last night should look really good. I'm really excited to get home, load them up on the computer at home and actually see what they look like. I haven't seen them yet. I hope they look really cool. having to remind myself that this isn't square. The images on here are 4x3. still different to the 3x2 that you typically get with most cameras, but they're not square. If you've used a 500cm before, that 6x6 film means it doesn't matter which way around you've got the camera orientated, you're getting the same images. With this, I'm having to remind myself, because I'm used to this form factor, that I do need to turn the camera on its side to get portrait images at times. The pier this morning looks absolutely beautiful, and I've just snapped a couple pictures of it. I'm really intrigued to see what these pictures look like. I haven't seen the pictures yet at this point. You guys have, and I'm hoping the pictures are going to really justify this camera. Thing for me, and I'm super conscious, it's something that I'm in quite a fortunate situation about, is that all of the photography that I do is generally for myself. I'm not really taking pictures for clients. It's only really for me, my family, and YouTube. That is it really. That's the only time I'm really taking images. So I'm kind of lucky from the perspective of the result isn't always that important. For me, the process is often just as important as anything else. And if I'm enjoying being out shooting with a camera, that holds a lot of value to me. If it's going to encourage me to pick it up, take it out and go and shoot, I put probably more value on that than I do actual results. Now, I'm not saying this camera shouldn't deliver. It really should. But I'm really enjoying the process. And for me, that is genuinely so important. And I know for many people, results probably matter more. But for me, it's all about the process. I guess with a lens, you always rate it when you look at the images later, but the 38mm that I've got here is actually a 30-ish mil full frame equivalent. So it's very close to the 28mm focal length that I absolutely love. Now the lens itself is really small and has like a focus ring, moves forward and turns it into manual focus mode. I really like that feature. It's a really cool implementation of it, but we'll see what the lens is actually like when we look at the images later. My only downside with the lens is that the aperture ring is really fiddly and quite hard to reach around the front of the camera. But beyond that, I'm really enjoying this 38mm lens as well. So we are back at my desk, finally looking at the images. Now, I do think we need to get the elephant in my Lightroom library out of the way first, because the file sizes, they're a little bit insane. About 220 meg per image, which means every 4 images, we're getting very close to 1 gig, which is absolutely nuts. Now, the good thing is this camera does come with 1 terabyte of internal storage, which means you've got room for thousands and thousands of photos. The problem is when I get home and I put them into my cloud storage solution of Lightroom, they're taking up an awful lot of space. Now, I don't really want this camera to change the way I shoot, so I'm going to continue to go out and take lots of images, but when I get back here and sit in front of my Lightroom library, I'm going to find myself deleting all of the images that I don't like. I'm going to have to cull my images a little bit more than usual. But if we move away from the file sizes and actually look at the image quality and the images themselves, they've absolutely blown me away. Some of the images look like a Where's Wally or Where's Waldo, I think some of you guys call it, image, because there's so much going on in these photos. And when you zoom into them, there is so much detail there. It's absolutely blowing my mind. And if we look at this image of these people playing basketball, the QR codes in the background that you can't even see from the full size image are scannable. The quality of the files is absolutely ridiculous. And I'm finding as well, when you're editing the files, they edit really nicely. You can really recover the shadows. You can actually pull down the highlights pretty well as well. I think the only thing that I found in Lightroom that feels a bit odd is when you turn on the lens correction for the 38mm lens that I've been using, I think it overcorrects the vignette of the lens to the point that the center of the image looks dark. So I've actually found myself turning off lens corrections. I don't know if that's just a bug for me at the minute, but you can definitely see it in some of the images. I'll show you a couple on the screen. Whilst we were in the arcades, I did do a couple of sort of higher ISO shots because I know I wasn't doing that many out in Brighton because it was bright and sunny. And I think when you get to 6400 like this image, it's still usable, definitely still usable, but you're starting to see kind of the limits. Some of the images that we also took inside the arcade's 800 ISO look absolutely fine, perfectly usable. Now, something I did do halfway through the weekend was set my minimum shutter speed to 250th of a second. Now, I did that because I know this camera doesn't have IBIS, and the entire weekend I was hand holding. Now, I think setting it at 250th of a second was the right move. There's some of the images earlier in the weekend, we can see a little bit of movement in them with that big sensor, but 250th does seem to be that sweet spot where I can easily handhold and everything looks great. When it comes to image quality, genuinely, I'm absolutely blown away. And this is what I was hoping for. It's an expensive camera that should give you great results. And the reality is, when I'm actually sat here in front of my Lightroom and my iPad looking at these images, they are as good as I'd hoped. So I'm now super excited to go out with this camera again. Now the next thing that we're going to be doing in the next video is attaching this digital back to my 500cm camera body that Claire has. We're going to combine the two together and use those vintage lenses. And that's the experience that I'm really excited to try with this camera. But so far, so good. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please do not forget to like and subscribe. And if you've seen anything in this video that you've got any questions about, then let me know down in the comments and I'll do my best to get back to you. Thank you for watching and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.